Is this more versatile than this? Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? Joe here from the Scruffy Fam. Hey, if you're not already subscribed, hey, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Doesn't cost you anything, just kind of helps our channel outgrow. I try to do videos every couple days. I am a gunsmith. I do have a firearms business, so super excited to be able to do this for you. I had a really interesting conversation today. I was talking to someone, told them I got a 6.5 Creedmoor, kind of what I thought about it. And they said, oh man, 6.5 Creedmoor is it's one of the best ones out there. You can use it for anything. You can shoot elk with it. You can go all the way down and do coyote hunting and prairie dog shooting. 6.5 Creedmoor is just the best thing ever. And I did another video. I haven't posted it yet. I did another video of, you got two types of people with 6.5 Creedmoor. The ones that think it's God's gift to calibers, and those that don't really like it a whole lot. There's not a lot of people in the middle, which is kind of funny. But I said, well, I don't know about that. I don't know if the 6.5 Creedmoor is enough for elk, though people have shot elk with 6.5 Creedmoors. It has happened. And I'm not quite sure I'd want to shoot coyotes if I'm trying to get the pelt with a 6.5 Creedmoor. It's a little much. Honestly, if you're going to talk about something like that, I'd want to go with a 243. And he gave me the weirdest look. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, let's look at the data. So I wanted to go into that with you guys today and really talk about the 243 versus the 6.5 Creedmoor as a more versatile hunting round for deer size game and under. Okay? So I want to look at deer size game and under. Now, the 243 has been around since the 1950s. And the 6.5 Creedmoor is new on the block around 2007. So almost 20 years with the 6.5 Creedmoor, 80 plus years with the 243. So because of that, there's a lot more data on the 243 than there is a 6.5 Creedmoor, but the 6.5 Creedmoor is a very, very good round. Today what I want to do is I want to compare as close as I can with the two. We're going to use Hornady Precision Hunter. I've got Hornady Precision Hunter for both of my rifles that are chambered in 243 and 6.5 Creedmoor, and I'm using the same company rifles. Okay, we're using Ruger Americans. I have a Ruger American in 243 that is the standard, and I have a Ruger American Go Wild in 6.5 Creedmoor. Okay, they have the same length barrels. The only difference is the caliber of them. I could take out either one and put them interchangeable in stocks. They're that similar of rifles. As far as accuracy goes, out to 100 yards, they both can make little tiny dots on paper. That's just the quality of the Ruger Americans. They both shoot the Precision Hunter fairly well. Recoil with these two things, the 243 actually recoils less than the 6.5 Creedmoor, not by much. There's about a 2 pound difference in recoil energy between the two, but both of them are so mild you wouldn't be able to tell the difference when shooting them. Shootability wise for both of my rifles is extremely easy. So when you look at all of those things are even. What we want to talk about is how is it when we go into hunting for everything deer size game and down. So what do we classify for deer and down? So whitetail deer. So we'll do whitetail deer, mule deer, antelope, pronghorn, feral hogs, javelina. Then we'll go into coyotes, rabbits, raccoons, prairie dogs, varmints, right? So varmints and medium game animals, okay? So medium game down, okay? How does it handle those? And when we look at it, the offerings for both of these is staggeringly different, okay? So I'm gonna get the reloading manual and we're gonna look at how low you can go and how high you can go with both of these. All right, so I've got the latest edition Hornady reloading manual, and we're gonna start with the 243. Okay, so the 243, It's a neck down 308. If you guys didn't know that, it's just the 308, the neck down, put a 6mm bullet in it. The 243 is a 6mm. If you guys didn't know that, it's a 6mm bullet. So in Hornady's reloading manual, it goes down to a 58 grain VMAX, 58 grain, 65 grain, 75 grain, 80 grain, 85 to 90 grain, 95 grain, 100 grain, 105 grain, 110 up to 115 grain bullet. Okay? So that is pretty good. Okay, and in the reloading manual it says to go up to, for the 103, 105 grain, it says recommend a 1 in 9 twist, 1 in 8 twist for the 108, 110, 115. So my Ruger American has a 1 in 9 twist, so it would be able to handle up to these 105 grains. Okay, so that is, so we'll go as low as 58 grains, as high as 110, depending on the twist rate of your 243. For the 6.5 Creedmoor, you could go as low as 95 to 100 grains. Okay, so 95 to 100, and up to 143 grain for hunting. Okay, so for hunting, 143 grain. There are, it looks like, some 153 grain for match bullets, but 143 grain is where it tops out for hunting. Okay, so for hunting, 143 grains down to 95 grains. For the 243 for hunting, 58 grains up to 103, 105, 103 grain. Okay, so 103 grain down to 55 or 58 for the 143, and 95 to 143 for the 6.5 Creedmoor. Okay, so that is the different types of bullets that you can use between the two. All right, let's talk about ballistics. Okay, so ballistics between the two, and this is where things get interesting. Now the 6.5 Creedmoor is going to have a much higher ballistic coefficient because it's bigger. Okay, it's bigger. You have a .243 and a .26. It's different. Okay, so the ballistic coefficient for the 6.5 Creedmoor is a .625. For the 243 is a .409. 143 grains for the 6.5, 90 grains for the 243. Now, this is where things are interesting, because I have heard people say the 6.5 Creedmoor is a flat shooting caliber, and it is, but the 243 is flatter. This is pretty cool, guys. So for the velocity coming out of the 6.5 Creedmoor, you're looking at 2,700 feet per second. For the 243, we're looking at 3,150 feet per second. Okay, we went out to 500 yards. The reason I went out to 500 yards is I want practical hunting distances is really at 300 yards. I've talked about that before. 300 yards is really about it. So when I look at this at 100 yards, right, 100-yard shot, where a majority of people hunt at, you're looking at 2,557 feet per second for the 6.5 Creedmoor, 2,911 feet per second for the 243. That is some boogie. Energy, the 6.5 Creedmoor has it licked in energy. We're looking at 20,076 and 1693. 200 yards, we've got 2419 for the 6.5 Creedmoor, 2685 for velocity of the 243. Energy 1858 and 1440. But here's where it starts to get interesting. The drop for the 6.5 Creedmoor at 200 yards is 3.8 inches. Okay, so almost for a 3.8 inch drop at 200 yards. The 243, 2.6. So over an inch difference in drop between the 6.5 Creedmoor and the 243. The 243 is flatter at 200 yards. Okay, that's cool. Let's look at 300 yards. So at 300 yards, we're at 22.85 for the 6.5, 24.69 for the 243. Energy, 16.58 for the 6.5, 12.19 for the 243. So both still plenty of energy to kill a deer at 300 yards. Then we look at the drop. At 300 yards, the 6.5 Creedmoor drops 13.6 inches. Okay, 13.6 inches. The 243, 10.1. That is nuts. That is a 3.5 inch difference between the two at 300 yards. Okay? Just because, we're going to go to 400 yards. 400 yards. 21.56 for the 6.5 Creedmoor, 22.64 for the 243. Energy, 14.75 for the 6.5 Creedmoor, 10.24 for the 243. Drop for the 6.5 Creedmoor is 30 inches, okay? 30 inches. The 243, 23.2, okay? A 7-inch difference between the two at 400 yards. And it just continues on like that the rest of the way. So out to 400 yards, they're both carrying enough energy to kill a deer, but the 243 is going faster and dropping less, okay? Now the 6.5 Creedmoor has a higher BC. It's using a bigger bullet. It's going to provide more terminal energy than the 243 is, but they're both carrying plenty of energy to kill a deer, a mid-sized game animal, out to 400 yards, both of them, okay? So when you look at the 6.5 Creedmoor and the 243 shoots faster, flatter, and carries enough energy to kill something at 400 yards, just like a 6.5 Creedmoor does. That says something, okay? All right, so the next thing that we need to talk about, and this is super important, is recoil. Now I said that the recoil energy between these two was fairly close. So the recoil energy on a 6.5 Creedmoor is listed as 11.87 pounds of felt recoil, 11.87 pounds of recoil. The 243 is 9.22, okay? So 9 pounds of felt recoil. What does that mean? It means the energy you feel coming back into your shoulder when you shoot them. If you have a muzzle brake on something, it reduces the recoil by about 40%, okay? So about 40%. I have a muzzle brake on my 6.5 Creedmoor, so it recoils about the same as the 243. They are almost identical. And depending on the type of rifle you get, you may already have a muzzle brake installed, or you're going to put a silencer on. If you're going to have something like that on your 6.5 Creedmoor, the recoil is going to be almost exactly the same, but the 243 wins in that as well. So far we've seen that the 243 is faster and flatter, it drops less at distance, and it still carries the energy. The 6.5 Creedmoor carries more energy, but also comes in less bullet options. The 243 has more bullet options. You can adjust grain weight as high as, for hunting, we saw 103 grain, 105 grain, down to 58 grain. So you've got that wide array of bullet options. For the 6.5 Creedmoor, you did not. It was 95 to 100, upwards of 143. So there's about 40 grains of grain weight difference there. Now for the 6.5 Creedmoor, I think that alludes to being able to hunt pronghorn, mule deer, whitetail, and black bear. I think you could hunt all of those with 6.5 Creedmoor with no problem. Okay, none whatsoever. Go for it. It will do the job. Make sure you get the right bullet. For the 243, you could do all the same things, but you could also, and the 6.5 Creedmoor could do feral hogs as well, but I think that's where you start to trail off. You're not going to want to use a 6.5 Creedmoor for a coyote. Can you? Absolutely. You absolutely can. Will it work? Yes. Are you concerned about the pelt? Therein lies the question. If you're not concerned about the pelt and you're just looking for eradication, a 6.5 Creedmoor absolutely can do the job. But if you're a varmint hunter and you're trying to collect the felt, so if you're doing fox, raccoon, coyote, prairie dog, any of those fur-bearing things, you don't want something that's going to blow out all of the felt, okay? So the 243 being able to go down to a 58 grain VMAX, also has frangible bullet options. Frangible bullets, if you don't know what those are, once they make contact, they spread so that they don't pierce the other side. They go in the target, break apart. You've got those options with the 243 where you don't with the 6.5 Creedmoor. It is specifically made for varmint hunting to be able to maintain the pelts. The reason a lot of people varmint hunt is for the pelts. Some of them do it for eradication, but being able to take the pelts from these animals is what is actually really desirable. So being able to go down in grain weight to make sure that you don't leave these giant holes in these animals is pretty important. And the really cool thing about that with the 243 is the velocity that you're getting. There are loads that get into the 4,000 feet per second with those 58 grain VMAXs. That's screaming. That is super, super fast. When you're doing varmint hunting, you want something that's going to get there, right? So a lot of people talk about the 22-250 as being a great varmint round. I would agree with you, it is. But for versatility, I think the 243 outshines the 6.5 Creedmoor for a versatile hunting caliber because it gives you the availability to hunt everything from medium-sized game all the way down to varmints with one rifle with a multitude of bullet offerings. The 6.5 Creedmoor is a fantastic caliber and can carry its own when it comes to those mid-sized game, but when it comes to being a more versatile caliber for medium-sized game and down, it does not beat the 243. So guys, let me know what you think. Is the 243 more versatile than the 6.5 Creedmoor, or do you think the 6.5 Creedmoor is just the best? If you do, let's have a conversation because I already told you guys the 6.5 PRC is better than the 6.5 Creedmoor. Guys, I love to have these conversations. I love to look at the data. Too many times we go off of our emotions when we make these statements because based on our own history. So let's look at the data. Let's see what's available out there. And I appreciate all the conversations we have in here. I like hearing your guys' perspectives. And I love having those conversations. So what do you think? Do you think the 243 is more versatile than the 6.5 Creedmoor? Or do you think the 6.5 Creedmoor is more versatile? If you have either one, tell me what you got. Tell me what you think of it. And tell me what you've hunted with it. We'll see you guys next time.